Hey everybody, Beth Rowles here. I am excited to talk to you today about how blame and something called lack create lots of problems in our relationships, and how understanding how they create problems can help you create more of what you want in your life. So, if you don't know me, I'm Beth Rowles. I'm a relationship coach, and I help you use your current marriage as a feedback loop to grow in self awareness so you can create exactly the relationship you really want without leaving the one you're in. So when we feel negative, or I heard in one of my classes the other day the phrase depleting emotions, and I like that better because positive emotions give us energy, and negative emotions kind of take energy from us. They take a lot of work to stay in those emotional states, whereas being in like joy or love feels really good. So it's actually restoring our energy. So when we feel negative or depleting emotions, it means that we're in an ego state where we believe that life is happening to us. Okay, we are blaming others for our problems. We think that we are at the mercy of life and we're just surviving every day. And you just follow the patterns that everybody follows. You join the different institutions, you go to school, you get a job, you find a man or find a woman, you settle down, you have kids, you do the parenting thing, you do their school thing. Like you just follow through these motions of life. And if something happens, we get in a car accident, we have a fight with our spouse, if we have an issue with a neighbor, if our car breaks down, it's just life happening to us. And that gives us the excuse to blame the thing for the problem. So blame the husband, blame the wife, blame the kid, blame the school, blame the teacher, blame the doctor, blame the neighbor, blame the car, etc. Instead of, like the car example is a really good one, because if the car breaks down, were you taking care of it? Were you maintaining it? If you get in an accident, were you paying attention? Were you in a place that was a dangerous area to drive in? Were you in a lot of traffic? You know, what choices did you make that got you there? If you have an issue with your spouse or you have a fight, how did you walk in the room? What was your intention when you talked to them? Were you trying to use them to make you feel better? Or were you trying to help them feel loved and really connect to them and have a uplifting conversation with them? With your kids, were you just trying to get through the bedtime mess, or were you trying to really connect with them and help them feel loved at bedtime? So there's so many things that we can take into account to understand our role, and then we begin to create life. It happens through us. It happens by us. When we are in ego frequency and think that life is happening to us, then we feel powerless, and we are creating our lives, but we don't even realize it because we have not taken control of our power to be creators yet. We have power through our thoughts, through our emotions, through our behaviors, through our energy, through what we do when we have a goal or a dream and we take action towards it every day and then we realize it. That's us creating our lives. People who are wonderful athletes don't just lay in bed and hope that one day they'll be in the Olympics. You know, they get up every day and they practice. And I don't claim to know what they do, but I'm sure they do lots of stuff every day, from their mindset to their actual physical activity to their nutrition to the people they're around, the ways they get inspired and repetition and all those things. They are creating that result. So our relationships are no different. They are absolutely no different. Our mindset matters. How we take care of ourselves matters. Our behavior matters. Our energy that we bring to the room matters in what we create in our marriage. And if you don't like the marriage in front of you, you have got to examine your role in it because you have no power over them. Your only power over them is in the way that you treat them because that changes how they respond to you. But you don't get to think their thoughts or get to control or manage their emotions or make them be productive or whatever it is. Your control is in how you feel, how you think, how you respond, how you react, so many things. So, what I did, and what I see women do all the time, is that we start having judgments about our spouse. And a really common one that I see, I just saw it on Southern Charm the other day. I went back a couple seasons and was watching Naomi and Craig. And Naomi reminds me of how I used to be with my husband. She felt that Craig was lazy and not productive enough and didn't seem motivated in life and didn't seem like he was chasing the goals that she thought he should be chasing. So now, having the benefit of time having passed, Craig is a lawyer with his own law firm. He has a really successful sewing business. He's still on the show, earns money from that. So he's actually achieving quite a bit. And I don't actually know what Naomi does. So it wasn't that he was actually unproductive or lazy or not motivated. He was just following what he wanted to do. But let's get into why she felt like it wasn't right. So we have the judgment that they're lazy or not productive. And this holds up a mirror for us. The judgment is there because it's a part of ourselves that we've rejected in childhood to be considered a good girl, or we're actually in some way also being lazy or unproductive, but we're not aware of it yet. Usually it's in our blind spot and we want it to be in our blind spot, right? Because if we don't face it, then we don't have to admit that it's there. But at that subconscious level, we know and we're bothered by it and want to change it. So instead of having the self-awareness to go, oh my God, this is actually about me. It wasn't okay for me to be lazy when I was a kid, or I actually don't do everything I'm supposed to do at work. But I'm going to pretend that I'm really busy and doing a good job because that's better than facing the fact that I probably could have been a little bit more responsible with my work duties or whatever it is. Somehow in your life, it shows up. Maybe it's feeling like you aren't present enough with your kids or parenting enough. There's some way that it can still be there. It could be very small, very big, but somehow it's actually reflecting something for us that bothers us about ourselves. For me, it was definitely the childhood one. It was you had to do your stuff and get it done. And if it didn't seem like you were doing enough, even if it was just a projection, then you were really criticized and, you know, whatever, shamed for it. So instead, we blame our husband for being lazy. And when we register their behavior, so we understand that there's lazy behavior, then we move ourselves into the depleting emotion. So it could be like anger, shame, guilt, fear. Fear is always at the root of all of them, but they can manifest in different ways. And then we outwardly express it by criticizing our husband, or we're passive aggressive, or we shut down, or we belittle them, insult them. Mostly for me, it was mostly passive aggressive jabs or like, I'll do that for you. I actually did that again yesterday. Wanted to. I actually stopped myself from doing it. I sent him a message of something I wanted him to do, but I didn't actually say, will you do this? And then I was going to walk in and be like, well, I got that. Thanks. That's a passive aggressive jab. And it wouldn't have actually helped anything. He'd be confused because I didn't actually ask him to do anything. So then I want to talk about how this behavior affects them. So let's go back for a minute. And I don't want you to come at me with comments about gender roles and stereotypes and stuff, because these are just facts about the differences between men and women. So we have to understand as women that most husbands are here to serve. They find the woman who will give them healthy babies, and then they will do whatever that woman needs to raise those babies up into successful adults. So the negative emotions and criticisms cut really deep for them. And then they shut down because now you've shifted the balance of masculine and feminine energies. Masculine and feminine energies have nothing to do with gender, other than that men are typically more masculine and women are typically more feminine. but it's not always the case. If you look at a homosexual couple, then one is more than the other. So the negative emotions and criticism, um, orders, cold detachment, shift the masculine energy in the relationship to you, the wife. Masculine energy is not inherently bad, but there can also be unhealthy masculine energy. Masculine energy can be authoritarian, cold, detached energy, barking orders, making commands, just being, because it's a more detached energy rather than empathetic. Um, it gets things done. Like, so masculine energy is what you need to go hunt an animal to have food for dinner. Feminine energy will turn that meal into, or turn that animal into a meal, but would probably have a really hard time taking its life. That's why we need masculine energy. It has to be detached to protect and provide for us to actually survive this life. So now the man is even deeper into the feminine energy because it always balances. So if you go way up into the masculine, he's going to go into the feminine more. You're going to take up that space, and it has to be a whole. If you think of the yin and yang symbol, it's always going to be a whole. So no matter who takes up one part of it, it's always going to balance itself. If you go way into the feminine, then he's going to balance it with more masculine. So he's in an unhealthy feminine, and then the woman is in unhealthy masculine energy. So from this state, now the man is conflicted and doesn't know what problem to solve because the masculine energy just shuts them down. So there's an ideal state of nature. Is their ideal state of nature, the man, for the man, is knowing that there are problems that they can solve to provide for and protect their family, to serve you. That's where they thrive, is knowing that there are problems that they can solve. They do not thrive when there's basically that male and masculine energy telling them they aren't good enough. Nobody thrives there. Nobody wants to be yelled at, demeaned, criticized, controlled, demanded to do anything. They're going to rebel because it's not respecting who you really are. Okay, so now they're in this negative emotional state because they feel anger, shame, resentment, guilt, or apathy. And then you go do your work, so it seems. All right. So you are becoming conscious and you think that you're doing your work. But you come into the room feeling happy and you think you're really high because you're done your self-care. But then you subconsciously move into the negative emotional state because you're reminded, here's this lazy jerk. And then he matches that energetic state because we entrain to each other. And now it feels like he pulls you down. Your fear, when you enter the room, and whether it's subconscious or conscious, the fear comes up that he's not the right husband for you because you picked the wrong one. He's too feminine. He doesn't get stuff done. He's too lazy. He's here. I'm walking in the room. He's going to show me again that I messed up and picked the wrong one. You go into the fear, whether you realize it or not. Then he matches it. And then you go, oh my God, he just pulls me down. I even wrote that in my book, The Authentic Wife. I said that he felt like a heavy weight, that like I felt like a balloon, and he just yanked me out of the sky. It was me. I was yanking myself out of the sky because I went into the fear and we matched each other in this fear state. And they were both in a negative state. I hope that makes sense. If you have questions about this, leave me comments. If you're still here, this is going to be a long one. Sorry about this. I didn't know it's going to be so long. Okay. So your fear about him not being the right husband for you is met with his fear, and then thoughts, words, and behavior ensue that match those two depleting emotional states. Had you instead explored what was coming up for you when you first decided he was lazy, whether it was what you needed to heal, what limiting beliefs you have, how this was reflecting something in you, what you've been too afraid to acknowledge, I don't know what that note is, some fear there. What you've been too afraid to say. I didn't finish the thought. What you've been too afraid to say or express to him that's on your mind, but you've held it in, or you think he knows how you feel, but you haven't actually expressed it. You just think that he should know. Boundaries you haven't held, the enabling that you're doing in this situation, self-care you're not giving yourself. If you don't look at these things within first, then it just spirals and keeps going downhill from there. But if you can stop when you think, oh my God, he's so lazy and unproductive, and do the work, then you can see him for who he is. And chances are that you will change what you're doing and express how you feel, express your needs, not enable, and hold boundaries. And then you will not feel resentful that he's being lazy. That's what happened with me. And that's what I see all the time. When we stop creating the laziness, when we back off a little on the masculine energy and ask for help and point out problems and not just take it all on our shoulders, and they step up, and then we don't, there's no evidence that they're lazy because now they're helping. That's what's happened in my relationship. So then once you've done the work, then you can handle the situation in a by me state, knowing that you're the creator of what happens next. And with love and a supportive intention, you can communicate, express needs, figure out how to get those needs met, and be responsible for meeting them. When we blame others, we are handing over our power and saying that they are responsible for both knowing and meeting our needs. And you have to understand that one person is not going to meet all your needs, and that you are responsible for being the one who ensures that they are met. It is up to you to figure out, okay, I have this need for help around the house. If he can't do it and I can't do it, then I'm going to hire somebody to do it. I have a need for a funny conversation. He can't do it. I have this other friend. We're going to go have dinner, or we're going to go to a comedy club or something. I have a need for a spiritual conversation and deep, stimulating intellectual conversation. My husband's okay with that, but I really like to talk to this girl about it because she and I are on the same wavelength. You're taking responsibility for getting those needs met and also identifying who can meet them for you. Blaming the other keeps you stuck in a state of lack. Lack is scarcity mindset, thinking there's not enough of everything, thinking that you're not getting enough. Like the opposite of lack is abundance, that there's plenty of everything to go around. There's plenty of love in your heart for your husband, no matter how he's being, because love is your choice to stay in this energizing emotion rather than the depleting one. From that state, when you're in lack and feeling powerless, you drag others down, and then it feels like they're dragging you down. But whether you're aware of it or not, you're entering the room with a closed heart, ready to fight. And you're creating exactly what you're afraid of. All right. Thank you for watching. And if you have questions about this, comment here or go to my website, bethrowles.com, and have a conversation with me. Sign up for coaching. I've got a great class on this called The Authentic Life. It's linked on my website. Subscribe and get notifications from this channel if you want to see more. Otherwise, have an awesome day, and I will talk to you again later. Bye-bye.